Introducing a new podcast. Karen Hunter is awesome.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. So check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
Karen Hunter is awesome. A new podcast from Karen Hunter.
We are all interconnected.
All connected.
Whether we like it or not, we need to know what's happening. And the people that we put in office that like wear shorts and hoodies that are in the Senate, they have to do foreign policy for us. And we have to trust that they're going to be able to advocate for what's best for Braddock, Pennsylvania, and the United States in a foreign land.
I love that subtle shade. I interviewed him, and he was so disrespectful.
I remember I listened. It was really good.
Was it a good? I was like, hello. I don't know who the F you think you're talking. Like, I was like, the amount of, just disrespect and this sense of entitlement. Like, who are you?
Well, I'm still happy you brought it up because now I'm just realizing that is a great summation of what we're all just talking about. This whole episode here today, this whole show is the Democratic Party thinks they know what they're talking about when they're speaking to a group of people. You want law and order, don't you? You want to feel safe, don't you? You don't want crime.
Right. And since we're talking, and you're not black if you don't vote for me. Like, I wanted to. You put us in a situation where I have to suck that up because your policies are going to be easier, or you're going to be easier to deal with than somebody that absolutely doesn't value my humanity. But we should not have to pick. And it's not even a lesser of two evils. There's something more going on here. And to me, I'd rather, verbally and people-wise put you in a headlock or in a corner where we can actually get some stuff done as opposed to having to just save our lives. Like, that's a much bigger, it's like when you're just fighting for your life, you don't get things done, except for breath. And that's, that comes and goes. How are you feeling? Because I'm getting my rhythm with this podcasting. I didn't think I would like doing a podcast, but now I actually prefer it, if I'm being honest.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. I mean, I've been doing them for so long that I've just trying to experiment and find new ways to play with the medium now. So Fraudsters, this last season, we had a lot of fun. And frankly, doing a weekly political show, like a weekly, like on geopolitics and global issues is probably something I've always wanted to do and something that I really appreciate and feel responsible and feel honored to be able to do at a network and to share kind of what's happening around the world with, Syria and Assad falling this last week. Or 2 weeks ago, and just the aftermath and what's going to happen over the next 4 years. I do sense I think our show is going to be important for people, and because it's hard to keep track of everything that's going on. And even if we're not, working in the government, we are people, and my co-host and I, who actually does work in the government, but we're not like, elected officials or anything like that. We are people that have been looking and studying and living in this space for our whole lives. And so bringing that perspective and then bringing our curiosity and interviews will be really interesting. And it's been really fun so far.
I haven't talked much about the fall of Assad because, quite frankly, I don't know enough. But also, our entanglements make it difficult for me to form an important opinion because, we prop people up. When I say we, United States of America, so they're allies who are horrible, it's like bin Laden was an ally until he wasn't. And, Saddam Hussein, we danced with him until he did. Gaddafi was, and then we like, okay, done with you. Haiti is a mess primarily because of United States and France. The insertion of leaders. You come from a country, Iran, where we had our fingers up the butt of a Shah, and making that happen, which then makes people mad. And then you go to the zealots, it's folk, and I don't know how we navigate that when we got our own problems right here that we're trying to figure out. So why should we care is my question.
Because how we treat the rest of the world is how we treat each other here.
Okay.
How
Well, this tracks. This is the okay.
exactly.
It
And so
tracks.
that's why it's important. It is exactly, you can see very clearly that how we are around the world and how we police the rest of the world and how we interact with the most vulnerable populations around the world is a reflection on how we treat our most vulnerable populations here in America. And I think you can see a very clear line of how we're doing that.
What's the time lapse, right? Because America has been doing things. I grew up in a time when we thought we were the not just the policemen or women of the world, but also the moral compass. We would go
Yeah.
around and talk about spreading democracy, and we have to go to these places because we're spreading democracy, and these folk are coming, to take our freedoms and rights, without ever like going, hey, freedoms and rights are being taken right here. Okay, wait a minute, there's a little hypocrisy in this, but we were like rah rah rah, and I feel like we are not rah 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 as a nation around these things. So now a government in Syria, the leadership topples all throughout actually the world. There's a lot of these coups and people. So do we acknowledge the new leadership, and what do we need from Syria? I'm asking a question. It's oil, right? It's oil, Seena? Money?
Uh, well, there's a bunch of different things that we could use. One of the things is that it was a huge ally of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and so that was like a area where they had a lot of support. Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Islamic Republic and Russia were all sending troops and military and air support to Syria. And then Russia actually has two ports that it made a deal with Bashar al-Assad's father in the early 70s to station there. So right now, Russia uses one of the main ports in Tartut to actually stage logistics for the Ukraine war. So all of a sudden, Syria falls, and now where is Russia supposed to launch their logistics from in that port? They've already started making inroads with the new transitional government to be able to continue to do that. So these are things that we have to be aware of because we are all around the world, right? And it'd be interesting to see how the next administration handles the kind of isolationist approach with a Secretary of State, potentially Marco Rubio, who is an old neocon. So we'll see how that's going to work out because those two will clash for sure. Will he just do whatever Trump wants him to do and close military bases or
Yes.
close State Department
Yes.
offices? But how much, how fast, how will it go? All those things really have a disproportionate effect. And remember, the amount of money that we do send out is not a lot. It has a big emotional impact because it's not here, right? And we see the carnage that it creates over there. But in the grand scheme of our, $20 trillion economy, it's extreme, or even the federal budget, it's extremely small. What we do need is help because remember, when you had the Houthi rebels shooting these rockets in the Strait of Hormuz and all of these things, they stopped shipments of goods. The global supply chain stopped. So that does have an effect on what's happening here. So why should you care? Because whether we like it or not, we're in a very globalized world.